Campfire friends, welcome back to the campfire. We're halfway through May of 2026 and Alaska's waking up again. We call it green up. Nature bursts into green everywhere. Tourists are coming north. New folks are moving into our great state. And every year, people come to Alaska Green. We call them Chichakos. A lot of them make the mistake of thinking Alaska is just another beautiful place on a map. It's not. It's dangerous. Alaska can be unforgiving, and if you don't listen, it can tear you apart. So pull up a chair, grab that hot cup of coffee, and listen to that fire. A story like this may help someone make a better decision. Tonight's story, don't ignore the warnings. In a previous video, I talked about a man I've got a lot of respect for, Michael James Henney, a railroad builder, a problem solver, an engineer, and a man who built what many people thought could not be built. Now, if you haven't seen that video, I'll leave a link down in the description, because tonight's story relates to Henney more than you might think. Listening to the experienced people of Alaska, I have found it worthwhile and life-saving. Folks heading out into wilderness Alaska thinking they've got it figured out, and finding out real quick they don't. I'll be honest with you. After a few decades of it, you learn something. Out here, experience matters. Preparation matters. Think about bald tires in a snowstorm or a Chichako trying to set up a tent in an Alaska windstorm and not listening. That's where people participate in stupid mistakes and then gets into trouble or in deep snow. Now this might sound a little direct. Listen and live. And that brings us to our story. It happened. The Palm Sunday Avalanche, April 3rd, 1898, at a place called the Chilkoot Pass. Those people going into the pass were warned, and on Palm Sunday, April 3rd, 1898, the mountains answered back, told by the sourdoughs and fishermen, don't. First, let's back up 2 years. We go back to August 16th, 1896, near Bonanza Creek, gold was struck. Then stampeders began to arrive in Skagway, slowly at first, as word in those days was slow. Seattle was over 900 miles away. In 1897, more stampeders. Before the strike, Skagway was tiny, very tiny. Miners, packers, Alaska natives, people who knew what they were doing. They used the Chilkoot Trail the way it had always been used, careful, timed, paying attention to the land, and rarely, if ever, in April or early May. Then, the news of gold hit, and by the summer of 1897, Skagway went from a small to a large population, all miners, to thousands of people pushing inland through the pass up until 1898. All made it without incident to the Canadian border. The sourdoughs in Skagway knew that pass. They knew those slopes above the trail. They'd seen the signs before. Because in the spring, when the snow piles up and the weather starts to warm, that snow becomes unstable. You get heavy layers of snow building on top of each other. Weak layers underneath. And sometimes big overhangs, cornices hanging out over the edge. And when that gives way, it's not just a little slide, it's the whole mountainside will come down. But by late 1897, you didn't have just experienced men anymore. You had thousands of Chichakos, all of them new to Alaska, all of them in a hurry. And the more people that showed up, the tighter that trail got. And the less people listened. They were told about the danger. They could see the terrain. But just like we talked about earlier, now before all those people hit the pass, they came through a place called Skagway. And before the gold rush, Skagway wasn't much. A few cabins, some fishermen, just a quiet little coastal stop. But in 1897, that all changed. Early spring, thousands of people poured into Skagway. 9, maybe 10,000 people packed into a place that wasn't built for it. Tents everywhere, mud streets, supplies stacked as high as a man could reach, and right in the middle of all that chaos was a man named Soapy Smith. Now Soapy showed up the year before the avalanche, and he made his living off the rush. The danger zone was between Sheep Camp and the scales on the Chilkoot Trail. That was the stretch where the trail climbed into avalanche country. Slides had already started near the scales. People were warned. Native packers refused to go higher than Sheep Camp. White packers warned others not to enter the slide zone. But a party of roughly 200 people started down from the scales toward Sheep Camp anyway. Somewhere below the scales, near the old powerhouse and the draw a low ravine below the trail, the mountain gave way. A wall of snow tore into that long line of people. Those in the rear survived. Those near the middle, many disappeared under 20 to 50 feet of snow. That's the historically safest version. Broken bones, crushing injuries, and men buried alive beneath 20 to 50 feet of wet snow turned the Chilkoot Trail into a graveyard that Palm Sunday morning. Historians believe somewhere between 60 and 70 stampeders died in the avalanche, but nobody ever knew the exact number because many travelers were never officially recorded. Some bodies were never recovered at all, disappearing forever beneath the snow and ice of the pass. Some men stayed behind to dig through the broken snow for survivors, but many stampeders already over the pass continued north toward Dawson City, driven by gold fever and the dream of the Klondike. In the confusion afterward, stories spread through Skagway that members of Soapy Smith's gang stripped valuables from some of the dead before proper identification or burial could even take place. The moral of the story is that greed and desperation can blind people to humanity, danger, and even death itself. The Chilkoot Avalanche showed both sides of human nature at the same time. Some people stayed behind in brutal conditions to dig out strangers, while others pushed forward toward gold without even turning around. In the end, the mountain didn't care about dreams of wealth, and Alaska reminded everyone that nature always has the final word. That avalanche buried more than stampeders. It buried dreams, futures, and people whose names were never officially recorded. But the mountain also exposed the worst and best of humanity at the same time, while many stampeders pushed north, driven by greed and gold fever, and men connected to Soapy Smith were rumored to pillage the dead. It was the trail workers, native communities, townspeople, and religious groups who stayed behind to bury the bodies, care for the injured, and clean up the terrible aftermath left beneath the snow. And maybe that's one of the reasons Michael Henny mattered so much to Alaska history. The same year the mountain buried men on the Chilkoot, Henny's White Pass Railroad began changing everything, moving people north, safer, faster, and slowly putting men like Soapy Smith and the deadly trail system out of business. And before we go, friends, don't forget the volunteer rescue people, paramedics, backcountry teams, and emergency crews who still risk their lives helping others out in the wilderness today. This is Campfire Mike, thanking you for joining me around this campfire tale tonight. Stay safe out there, friends, and I'll see you down the trail. Campfire Mike, signing off.